right. Thank you so much for coming today to sunny Brussels. It's really great to have this sunny day today. Vincent, can you hear me? I have to shout? Okay, it's working. All right. Okay, then let's start. I know it was difficult to move away from the nice breakfast room. I hope you enjoyed it. So thanks again for coming today to our event Shaping Sustainable Futures. It's great to see you all, but actually I won't talk now, and I would like to, to welcome uh, the Built4People Partnership, and I would like to ask them to introduce this day, to open it officially, and I will then come back with more talks on my side. So I would like to call Anastasia, Project and Policy Officer at ECTP, and Eleftherios Bordakis, Project Advisor at CINEA, to open the day. And we'll go first with Anastasia.
Thank you very much. So very good morning to everyone. Today we have a very special day, not only because the weather in Brussels is sunny, but also because we have our special event. And so the day is open. And thank you very, very much for everyone to come here and to in creating our shapy, more sustainable, and more well designed for all of us. So I would like to very quickly introduce the Built4People Partnership, which is the co-program partnership, which brings together the whole value chain to accelerate people-centric innovation for a sustainable built environment. The Built4People Partnership is the co-program partnership under Horizon Europe, started in and we run till 2027. And this partnership really aims to catalyze the transition to a people-centric, climate-neutral, and sustainable and smart built environment. So the partnership runs under Pillar 2, Cluster 5, which is climate, energy, and mobility. And it is coordinated from public side by the European Commission and CNEA, and from the private side, it is coordinated by us, European Construction Technology Platform, and World Green Building Council. The Built4People Partnership addresses two critical challenges of the built environment's innovation ecosystem. It is from one side to become more sustainable and resilient, and particularly now, when we all face the climate change and the reduction in biodiversity. And from another side, complementary side, it aims to become more people-centric in order to improve our individual well-being and social cohesion, together like individuals and the community. And the Built4People Partnership is developed to support and to be aligned with the different political initiatives and regulatory initiatives which is defined by the European Commission. So it is the contribution to Europe 2030 energy targets. It is to be supportive and collaborative to support the European Renovation Wave strategy, European Union Circular Economy Action Plan, the different initiatives like, for example, today, very important, the affordable housing initiatives, and many, many others. And as I said, from the private side, it is coordinated by European Construction Technology Platform and World Green Building Council. But from the public side, the European Commission is represented by the selection of entities. The lead contact is DG Energy. However, it is also different units and agencies. It is the DG RTD, DG GROW, it is DG Environment, the agency of CINEA, and everyone is very welcome to contribute to the partnership objectives. And since I just mentioned, CINEA, I am happy to give the stage almost immediately to Well, apparently I went straight to the presentation. We don't know how it happened, but it happened. So the current site will be a little bit more information about Built4People Partnership. And everyone is welcome to join as a partner, to take part in the stakeholders forum, to take part in the community, and to go to follow this QR code to know more about this partnership. And now the second attempt is to give the floor to our colleague Eleftheris Vordakis, who will be speaking from the public side of the partnership.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Eleftherios Bourdakis. I'm a project advisor at Cinea. So normally I would wear my Cinea hat. The past 1 month I'm seconded at DG Grow, so I'm wearing the DG Grow hat. But today I will put my imaginary DG NR hat and present you the policy update on energy and energy efficiency. What is the policy context? So in January 2024 at COP28, it was agreed that we should double the global average annual rate of improvement in energy efficiency from 2 to 4%. And the next International Energy Agency annual event on energy efficiency will take this June here in Brussels. Since December 2024, we have the new commission, which took office with a strong mandate and priorities, as these were presented at the political guidelines for the period 2024-2029. And the aim is to increase prosperity and competitiveness of the Union with the same high focus on sustainability. This was reflected at the mission letters of the commissioners, and there are two main pillars. One is research and innovation, of course, and the other is the European Green Deal, which was adopted by the previous Commission, which will serve as a cornerstone in our policy making. Some key aspects for energy that were highlighted at the mission letter of commissioners was to secure supplies of clean and affordable energy. And how we do it, first of all, by implementing the existing legal framework, meaning the Fit for 55 work package, and that was adopted. So now what we have to do is to support the member states in adopting and, of course, more importantly, implementing this legal framework, which includes the EPPD, the EED, and the RED. But we don't stop there. So the new commission, within the first 100 days, has put forth a series of initiatives to help accelerate the clean energy transition, reduce energy prices, and enhance energy security across the Union, and already presented the competitiveness compass, the clean industrial deal, and the affordable energy action plan. The competitive compass, which was inspired by the Draghi report, is a roadmap to restore Europe's dynamism and boost economic growth. It was adopted in January, and it has 3 pillars. First, to close the innovation gap with our competitors like US and China, to decarbonize our economy, but at the same time remain competitive, and to reduce external dependencies to increase resilience and economic security. And this will be achieved by encouraging investments, simplification also in our policy making, and enabling clean power. And of course, by exploiting the benefit of scale that the single market offers us. The Clean Industrial Deal is a plan to make European industry cleaner and more competitive. For the businesses, it will offer more affordable, sustainable energy at lower costs and boost competitiveness. The single market for secondary and reusable materials, a greater demand for clean tech and sustainable products, and simpler and cleaner regulations. From the policy-making side, we need alignment with the EU climate and economic goals. a stronger, more competitive industrial sector, and collaboration opportunities across industry and the different value chains. And of course, we aim this plan to trigger investments of the magnitude of 800 billion annually. The Affordable Energy Action Plan was a key pillar of the Clean Industrial Deal. It aims to bring down energy costs for citizens and businesses. It focuses on long-term energy security and affordability through a more integrated energy system, including electrification, flexibility, digitalization, and storage, with a strong focus on investment. For a the clean energy investment strategy will be presented later this year. And this plan includes 8 actions in order to reduce the energy bills, in order to secure a proper functioning of the gas markets and others. For the first time, we have a commissioner on housing. So the new commissioner is Commissioner for Energy and Housing, with a strong aim to deliver affordable housing. Most of the member states, if not all, suffer from more and more increasing costs for housing. And how we aim to do this? By supporting, first of all, the housing supply. So we aim at doubling the cohesion policy investments in affordable housing, by reviewing the state aid rules regarding housing, by tackling systemic issues with short-term accommodation rentals and make proposals to tackle the inefficient use of the current housing stock. We will make an analysis on housing speculation impact and its economic consequences. For this reason, a task force was launched on 1st February 2025, which, let's say, belongs to DGNR. But we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We don't want to duplicate efforts. What was done so far, we have a unit in DGNR dealing with energy in buildings. We have a team in DG Grow about construction. We have a team in DG Environment dealing with sustainability in construction. So the aim of the task force is to be an umbrella above all those teams and coordinate all the work in order to be able to work more efficiently towards this target. And for that reason, there are colleagues from these different teams in different DGs who are seconded to the task force and operate as a link between their origin, their DG, and the task force in order to work more efficiently. Of course, we will fully respect the subsidiarity principle. Some of the initiatives of the affordable housing is the European Affordable Housing Plan. The aim is this to be published the first quarter of 2026. And then the European Strategy of Housing Construction we followed, and the Pan-European Investment Platform for Affordable and Sustainable Housing. And now I will put back my CINEA hat, and I will work on the work program for the coming years. So for 2025, of course, the process is more mature. We started early last year in 2024. But mid-July, we had the first draft, and then we had some iterations, both inter-service and with the program committee, and of course with the Built4People Partnership in order to produce the work program. Now we are expecting end of the month the final opinion of the program committee. It will be adopted end of April, and in May 2025 we will have the info days. It is already planned. It will be 6th of May, so you can save the date. And of course, we don't stop there. We have the work program for 26-20, because it's at a very early stage. So end of the month, we are expected to deliver the first draft work program, which will be consulted with the inter-service group and the program committee. A second iteration will follow next month, and June, and almost finalized the third version. Then we will launch an inter-service consultation during summer, and we expect by the end of the year to adopt the work program in order to be launched in 2026 on time. So the guidelines for this work program is, of course, to follow the priorities of the Commission. So decarbonization, simplification, and competitiveness. So for that reason, the work program is focused on the political priorities of the Commission to have a high impact and added value. We are aiming for more open and less prescriptive topics. So the idea is we will share, we want you to achieve this. For example, shorter duration of a renovation. How you are going to do this, this is up to you. As long as you deliver shorter renovation duration, we are happy. So this will result, of course, in shorter and simpler text, which, of course, it's beneficial both for the applicants. Clear text is easy to understand on what is demanded, and, of course, from the evaluation point of view, to assess the proposals properly. We are aiming for a higher budget per topic ratio. So far, we were funding on average, let's say, 2 proposals per topic. So the aim is to aim more, to fund more, because we are receiving more and more proposals per topic. And if we fund very few, we risk discouraging applicants from applying again in the future. And of course, they have to be short and concise with limited expected outcomes and impacts, as I said, as a matter of simplification. And with this, I would like to conclude my presentation.
Thank you so much, Eleftherios. Thanks a lot for putting on so many hats to deliver this insightful presentation, and especially on the update for the new work program. Very interesting to see. I now would like, after this kind of official opening, I would like to welcome you all on behalf of the hosting projects. As you can see here, we are many projects actually involved in this event. So it's today's Nebula final event, but tomorrow we have a day which is organized by the Craft project. And today, as you will see, we have also sessions that are facilitated by Woodstock, Nguma, and Aegir. So you can see all these persons here. You're much welcome to talk to them at the break. And as you will hear a lot about what we have done in Nebula today, first thought I will introduce quickly the project before we get started with the session, and I will also introduce the agenda of today. So Nebula, we started in October 2022, and in a couple of weeks we'll finish. So it has been a very nice journey. So we are a coordination and support action funded by Horizon Europe, and the objective was to support the Built4People Partnership along 3 different lines of actions. First, to foster the dissemination and adoption of the new urban Bauhaus values, because when we submitted our proposal for Nebula, the new European Bauhaus initiative had just started. At that time, it was a bit nebulous since our project title. So yeah, one of the objectives is to really foster the adoption of the NEB values towards the construction sector. Then to facilitate access to funding and also to networking opportunities for innovators of the construction sector and the built environment through the Built4People Partnership. And finally, to set up a network of what we call the innovation clusters to really enhance the collaborations between innovators, between organizations, countries, and disciplines. So that's one of our main achievements, to have created this network of B4P innovation clusters, which will be presented later by Anastasia. As you can see here, we have a rather wide coverage. We are still missing a few countries, but hey, we are hoping to complete that very soon. We had several rounds of signatures, and tonight we'll have a new signing ceremonies for B4P innovation clusters that will join us. In Nebula, we also offered various kind of support activities to those clusters. First, peer learning activities on the new European Bauhaus. As I said, the new European Bauhaus was very new when we started, so we tried to demystify it, first with a handbook towards the innovators, also then with webinars and workshops to share knowledge about the NEB. And finally, we set up a network of more than 20 NEB advisors. Again, you will hear more about that later on today. Then we had actions related to improving access to finance with the development of a finance toolbox that can be found on the B4P website, also matchmaking session and capacity building. And finally, we delivered open innovation support to clusters, especially to our front-runner clusters who are ODEs and build-in. So we had the kind of dedicating coaching and training with them, and also they themselves they share their lessons learned with the follower clusters. And last but not least, we had activities to support projects funded under the B4P umbrella. So we recently released a booklet with some innovations from B4P H 2020 and NEB funded projects, and there will be soon a booklet on inspiring stories that will follow later this month. And we also organized 2 clustering events with B4P funded projects. You can see here the latest one, which was in Brussels in November. The family is starting to get really big and will continue to expand. So last time we had 30 projects, and I guess this year we'll get even more. So as I said, Nebula is finishing this month, but the work is not over, and it will continue under the Star Track projects, which will run until April 2027. And this will be presented again in a session this morning by the coordinator, Nobatech. So that was all for the introduction of Nebula. We have 2 sessions this morning, each with a panel discussion at the end. The first one will focus on the network of B4P innovation cluster that we have developed and what it brings to be a B4P innovation cluster. Then we'll have a session on beautiful, sustainable, and inclusive renovation that will involve 4 B4P projects. After the lunch, there will be breakout sessions organized by the project iGear, Woodstock, and Nguma. And we'll finish the day with a wrap-up and a signing ceremony, as I mentioned, and a nice networking cocktail, which I expect will be very nice at the top floor, hopefully with still some sun. We'll see. And as I mentioned, so the session of this afternoon will be organized by iGear, Woodstock, and Nguma, and I would like to leave the floor to Liselotte Deligne, who will introduce the Woodstock project.
So good morning. My name is Liselotte, and I'm Scientific Project Manager of the Woodstock project. So what is our project all about? The name says it itself, Woodstock. So it's about increasing the use of wood in construction in Europe. And we don't want to just increase wood in general, but we want to do this in a climate smart way, and we want to focus on underutilized wood resources. So underutilized wood resources are, for instance, low quality wood, post-consumer wood, and damaged wood. We are 13 partners, which you can see here. And of course, it's a NEB project, so we are really into the multi-actor approach. And for that, out of the 13 partners, 6 have a living lab. So the living labs are spread over Europe. You might know Renault, for instance. They're also very strong in the NEB, strongly involved in NEB Academy. So if you're interested in wood and in the project, you're always welcome to join one of our living lab events. And just briefly, I want to share a bit what we're going to do in the project. So one thing we're going to do is we're going to develop new solutions, both on wood products, but also building level, that introduce the use of wood and underutilized wood resources. And we want to do this in a circular way and in a zero waste way. To actually know what wood resources are out there, we're going to map the material flows through Europe. So not only from the standing forest, but also from the buildings, so post-consumer wood. And like I said, the project says climate smart. How can we ensure that it's climate smart? We will do a lot of life cycle analyses to see which kind of products we should go for, production process we should go for, scenarios we should go for. And yeah, all of that information will of course be put into policy briefs, strategies for businesses, and a roadmap for the future. What you can see here is our European Wood Construction Observatory. This is actually a very big part of the project. We want to become the new ChatGPT, but then for the wood sector. So it will be an AI-driven online platform where everybody can find all kind of information on wood and wood science, but also wood construction. If you're interested to know more, so the project started in November. We've been running for 4 months, so the first results are starting to come in. You can follow our activities. If you join the Woodstock Connect network, you will receive some newsletters, also invitations to join Living Labs. And I'm also very proud to announce that our website was launched last week, so it looks really beautiful, very neb. So you can always check it out. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Liselott. Okay, well then, Roland from iGear told me I'm already talking a lot today, so no need for me to say something now. So I would like to invite Annemie Wickmans from the Craft projects to say a few words about the project, but also to introduce tomorrow.
Thank you. I'm actually going to stand here because, you know, all of our necks are like stretched in that direction. So I thought I'll give you some relief. So CRAFT. CRAFT stands for Creating Actionable Futures. It is funded by the city's mission. So the European mission on climate neutral and smart cities, together with the new European Bauhaus. And that is important because it's exactly this connection between climate neutrality and the good life, the inclusive, attractive, sustainable, everyday life of all of us, of our cities and our communities, making that connection, show how environmental performance, of course, but also healthy living, social and cultural drivers to empower people to be part of this transition. Good, robust community models for economic performance, for being able to pay for this, not as a big investment that needs to somehow, somewhere be funded by politicians. That might never happen, but how we can manage this locally on the ground with the resources we already have. And how we then build new partnerships between different types of sectors, disciplines, different stakeholder groups in order to make this happen, not just now during an EU project, but in many years to come. And so when we started, we heard a lot of messages of, okay, so, but first we need to do the technical, the infrastructure decisions. And then we can use New European Bauhaus to convince people to get on board. So we think that they're not two different things. New European Bauhaus is not like a cherry on the cake at the end of having done the technical transition. It is in fact the core, it is the very base, the foundation on which that competitive, resilient, climate neutral future of Europe, of our cities and communities, of our society is going to be built. And we're doing that together. So for this reason, of course, we have been discussing for a long time that also as projects, we should show then how we work together, how we build that knowledge. Because the knowledge is in fact already out there. It is at the hands of hundreds of thousands of local businesses, municipalities, social entrepreneurs, youth entrepreneurs, cultural, creative sectors, researchers, and many more. They all have little bits and pieces of those solutions. Perhaps a process, a tool, a solution that works locally. Little bits and pieces of the puzzle that need to be connected, that need to be brought together, documented, and shared so more people can use them in their own local context. And that is exactly why we are, as projects, are cooperating in order to get this knowledge together and to test it and to share it with others. So today and tomorrow, you'll hear a lot about what has been done in the first 3 years, not just from us, but from those stakeholders that have been working with this on the ground. And then we hope that you'll all be with us until tomorrow lunch, because just before lunch, we will also show you and invite you to be part of this and to connect your projects, your ideas, your input, your stakeholders with us for the next steps in the years to come. So, but first, we're going to hear a lot about Nebula and all of the other projects on what has been done. And we for everything you see and hear. So think, well, how does this connect to my activities? How does this make a difference? How does this lead beyond what we would usually do? Take an extra step or jump a few steps ahead. How do we do this and what more do we need? And then we can discuss this in the coffee breaks, lunch, during the reception, and of course then tomorrow to discuss the next steps together. Thank you.
Thanks, Annemie. And we'll now jump to the first session then on then how clusters can be themselves actors, as well as you mentioned, Annemie, how they can foster innovation, taking into account the NEB values. And I would like to invite Laura Palares from the World Green Building Council to facilitate this session.
Hello, good morning. Everybody fine? While we prepare the slides, have you seen this amazing weather we put for you today? I mean, for the ones who are not living in Brussels, that's not normal. So it comes with the pack. All right, so let me start. Sorry, I'm gonna pass them. My name is Laura Pallares. I'm the head of Europe at World Green Building Council, and I will be the moderator for this first session we have today. We prepare an amazing set of speakers, an amazing session for you to understand more the value of innovation and how this has to be a priority in the agenda, and how innovation clusters can help us to run this transition, how important innovation clusters are at regional level, national level, at the connection at European level as well. So for that, we have prepared an amazing agenda. First, we will have a presentation of the network, so you understand better the whole concept, how the structure, what we have been doing during these 2.5 years. How best understand that is we will bring some testimonials, so you will be hearing from them, their cluster and their aims, the challenges, the benefits, and all their thoughts. So, and also if you have questions, you will be able to have some answers as well. Then we will bring together again testimonials for Built4People projects. And finally, we will have, as I was mentioning, a set of Q&A sessions with you guys. So any question you have at the end, all right? Okay. So yeah, it's moving, right? So I would like to introduce you my colleague, Anastasia Yurshishina. She works at ECTP, which is one of the private partners of the Built4People Partnership, as well as they are working in Nebula. And she will be explaining us the environment, how we can accelerate this innovation in the built environment, and how is the network, how we build this network of Built4People Innovation Clusters Network. So Anastasia, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So here is me again with a quick introduction about what is Built4People Innovation Cluster. So typically we see a Built4People Innovation Cluster as a group of innovation-driven stakeholders, which are formed by 1, 2, or more local regional clusters, and who are mutually engaged in a maturing process. in order to foster European Union scale, multidisciplinary, sustainable innovation, and the general welfare of the built environment. What is important to consider, it's this complementary nature of the Built4People innovation cluster. From one point of view, this is the cluster which keeps close to the heart or minds the Built4People objectives, the general ones and the specific objectives, well, which you can see right now in front of you on the slide. So it's really different aspects of this vision, complementary vision, going from the holistic solutions through clean energy transition, as well as affordability, cost effectiveness, and of course, this all without any trade-offs on cultural heritage and health, well-being in general things. This is just to mention but a few, but here you can see the summary of the Built4People objectives. It is interesting to say that since the Built4People world is not the same as the world of New European Bauhaus, the Built4People Innovation Cluster also has the vision of New European Bauhaus in their heads and minds. And this is with respect to New European Bauhaus core values, being beautiful, being sustainable, inclusive, as well as respecting and following the New European Bauhaus working principles, which are participatory process, multi-level engagement, and the approach which is transdisciplinary. And this is like really important to know that despite these two worlds are coming from different natures and different worlds, they are very much complementary. And one of the ideas of Nebula project is to make sure that clusters understand that these two different worlds are not imposed on them, but they already have it in their vision. So we're here to support and help them to follow this process. The next slide will quickly introduce the Built4People Innovation Cluster Maturity Framework and the network corresponding to it. The network of Built4People Innovation Clusters, which we also call B4PIC network, it's composed of Built4People Innovation Clusters that are formally engaged in the Built4People maturing process. And formal engagement means signing the Built4People Innovation Cluster Charter, DINC, evening ceremony. And they assure the exchange of good practices and the mutual fostering of the collaboration among B4PICs. As previously said, this maturity framework takes into consideration and is based upon the foundations of Built4People objectives, as well as New European Bauhaus core values and working principles. But it is also guided by another big pillar of vision. This is what we call the Built4People Innovation Cluster success factors. So these are the success factors, the destinations along which the Built4People Innovation Clusters can mature. So what are these destinations or success factors? It is the responding and including the whole built environment ecosystem. Another one which is very important is to be multi-objectives. So again, addressing different objectives of these different worlds from B4P, from European Bauhaus. It is to be cross-sector. So really not to focus on one sector, but being able to represent the interest of different sectors. And particularly today, when the industry and the research is so complementary that one cannot really afford this luxury to focus on only one sector and really needs to go beyond. It is it is the vertical integration to be locally anchored with national and European outreach, which is quite important for those regional clusters who might not have yet enough force to be on the European level. But again, Nebula project and Nebula Vision takes it into consideration to support their anchoring with, not higher levels, like next levels. It is to be cross-border. Here we mean not only geographical borders, but also like virtual borders. So really be sure that the cluster is welcome and supported to collaborate with another cluster coming from different parts of Europe. Well, and not only. And finally, the sixth factor is to access to test beds and demonstration spaces. So to be sure already on this level of their development to have the practical response of how their innovations can be viewed and can be implemented now today. So all these pillars are used to define the vision of Built for People Innovation Cluster Maturity Framework. This is quite conceptual. Let's come back to a little bit more practical things. Why it might be interesting for Built for People Innovation clusters to join the network. The real answers you will hear a little bit later. Here is, coming from clusters testimonials, but here is just rather generic views for it. So why it can be interesting to apply to the network. So obviously just to increase the visibility on high-level European networks. By doing this, it is the excellent opportunity to meet with other national regional clusters and of course to collaborate with them. By doing this, the cluster can have a broad approach to research and innovation, especially if one collaborates with those clusters which are complementary to their own activities. By doing this, it's easier, not easy, but easier to benefit from services which are developed for the members of the network, which includes but not limited to access to resources and funding. And of course, well, it is the easier way to communicate key messages to the European Commission, just being here, being in the same environment and sharing it. And according to their maturity, the Built for People innovation clusters are, well, formally divided into 3 levels. The prospective Built for People innovation cluster, when the cluster just expressed the interest and exploring the possibility of becoming a Built for People innovation cluster. As soon as the charter is signed and the corresponding roadmap is developed for the cluster to increase their maturity, the cluster is becoming an emergent Built for People innovation cluster. And here is the formal condition for it is again signing the charter, evening ceremony. And finally, when the cluster, the emerging cluster, has demonstrated that it has reached the desired level of maturity along the success factors which they defined according to their own timeline, they become an established Built for People innovation cluster. Important here is to underline that this structure is not imposed on the cluster. So we don't define who is going to reach what and at which level. No, the cluster itself is defined for themselves. So we're only here to help and support it. And as previously said by Corinne, and probably Laura, well, by everyone, this process is not limited just to to one project, not to Nebula, not to the successor Star Trek project, and the movement of Built for People innovation clusters and their network is not finished even with the Built for People partnership. We're here rather to enable the boat to float and to let it go. So the process is not finished here. We're in the middle of it, but definitely not in any level of termination of it. The map, which was previously shown in a smaller scale at one of Corinne's slides, is right now in front of you. So this is the network as it is this morning. At this moment, we have 12 European countries in the network and 20 Built for People innovation clusters, from which 12 are emerging and 8 prospective. This is this morning. Unless you didn't hear about it before, but tonight we have the second signing ceremony. And it also means that 6 prospective Built for People innovation clusters are becoming emergent Built for People innovation clusters. And this also means that we have more emerging clusters, less prospective, who will be on the third ceremony, I assume. And so this is not now, it's likely to be in the end of the day. But the process is not stopped here. We're going to open the next expression of interest for clusters to join the Built for People Innovation Cluster Network. It is not going to be in the scope of Nebula project, simply because we'll finish before it, but it's going to be in the scope of the SESEXA project, and here's the teaser for the future presentation of the Star Trek. And the expression of interest to join the Built for People network will be opened the 1st of April for a couple of months for the clusters to send the applications. And what can I say else? They just stay tuned, stay actively tuned. Yes, here once again, the contact details to contact us anytime. The email address works 24/7. Thank you.
Thank you, Anastasia. So next in our list, as I was mentioning, now we will have this suite of testimonials from clusters. It's how we can better hear what they have been doing and the challenges they had, the benefits, expectations they have. So I will invite one by one the clusters. I will ask you to introduce your cluster, and then I will ask you to sit there because then we will join the panel, all right? So first I have Noelia Ortiz. She's the technical director in the cluster building. So Noelia, floor is yours. And I would ask to keep the presentation around 3-4 minutes, not more, otherwise no coffee break.
Thank you very much, Laura. Good morning to everybody, and thank you for giving us the opportunity of being here today and sharing with all of you our experience. I'm the technical director of Building construction cluster of the Basque Country. We work to boost the competitiveness and growth of our member companies, always promoting the innovation, research and development of them, and also the internationalization of their activities. One of the most important things for us as a cluster is to have the opportunity of connecting the public and private part of the ecosystem, because on that way we can improve our needs as a society. So very briefly, nowadays we are 157 partners. We represent all the value chain of the construction sector, from construction promotion entities to smart manufacturers, designers, and also engines of knowledge. We are located in the north of Spain. And here are some numbers or some figures about our activity. We are always increasing the number of partners that we are in the cluster. We are also increasing our activity in research, development, and innovation projects. And as a consequence of being part of this Built4People Innovation Cluster Network, we are increasing our participation in European projects. That is very important for us to reflect our member needs at the European level. And here are our strategic areas of the cluster. Mainly are focused on sustainability, digitalization, industrialization, and always with a very strong focus on that research, development, and innovation activity, and always with a very high focus on pushing the activity of our members. These are those strategic areas that we have to align in the past with the strategic objectives of the European Bauhaus and the Built4People Innovation Cluster strategy.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Noelia, for keeping the time. All right, so then we have a second cluster. I will invite here to speak Marcello Curti, and he's representing the cluster Avitec.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in my capacity as EU project manager on behalf of Avitec. And thanks for the invitation and to all the organizers. Regarding Avitec, we are a cluster organization based in northern Italy, very close to the border with Austria. We are based in the autonomous province of Trento. We were established in 2006 and recognized by the Italian Ministry of University and Research with the aim to create business networks and production value chains, mostly in our region, specialized in the field of green building, energy efficiency, and smart technologies. Our mission is to transform the construction and energy sectors, bringing inspiration through the pillars of innovation and sustainability. The image we use to present ourselves is the ice-breaking ship which tries to explore new routes in the sustainability markets. Regarding our membership, we are currently 120 members. Most of them are companies from the covering the whole construction and somehow the most of the energy value chains, but we also have 9 additional organizations comprising RTOs, universities, and public entities. And as a non-for-profit and benefit corporation, we reinvest 100% of our profit in new projects. As for our cluster and network, as I already said, we mainly represent the construction and energy value chains, mostly companies and entities based in our regions, with also some participations from members from other regions in Italy. We also have a good representation from the ICT and environmental technologies and services sectors. As for our membership services, we provide our cluster members the opportunity to have regular networking events and B2B opportunities to cooperate with our internal staff into market projects and to support their ESG transition and see corporate social responsibility improvement. And last but not least, to participate into new local and international research innovation funded projects. Lastly, as you can see here, we are also a member of the ECTP. We are promoter and co-founder of Green Building Council Italy, and we facilitate and cooperate into a bunch of local, national, and international activities, such as the Construction Hub 4.0 in our region and the co-creation of a green acceleration hub. Lastly, as for our internal services, we have a dedicated staff mostly made of architects and engineers specializing in green building certifications. We were the first organization in Italy to bring the LEED certification at the national level. So we have accredited professionals now and experts into LEED, BREEAM, WELL, and other green building rating systems. We also manage the first and only certification for timber buildings. So we also have expertise in this field. As for, very briefly, other services, we offer a wide set of decarbonization services for the built environment, but also for the corporate level. CSR and corporate services for cluster members and other companies. And last but not least, EU-funded projects participation and submission of proposals. Here you can see our most recent participations in EU projects. Most of them are from Horizon 2020, but now we have also some projects funded by Interreg Alpine Space and a new one which is coming, funded by Erasmus+. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcello. Please join the panel. Also, I forgot to say, if online participation, you have questions, please make sure you write them, and then we will bring them to the panel, to the final Q&A session. All right. So coming a bit from a closer country, I have Aurélie Romplet, and she's in the cluster Innovation for Society.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. I'm saying welcome because I'm a cluster I'm representative of a cluster here in Brussels. And our offices are just one corner, just here. So we are super happy to welcome you with this sunny weather. And I will present you Innovation for Society. So Mr. Eleftherios from CINEA has explained to us the affordable housing crisis, and Innovation for Society is a little bit UFO here because it's coming from this thematic. Because it's the first time we were touched by the public region of Brussels. It was by the social organization of housing, regional housing. We have a big crisis of affordable houses here. So they called us to create an ecosystem and then a cluster about strengthening affordable housing and built sector. So innovation for society is creating, of course, networks between organizations, non-profit organizations, urbanists, architects, universities, and public sector, of course, around creating more inclusive and affordable built environments. So here in Belgium, we have a little issue. You might know the Belgium lasagna, political lasagna. So we are super active in the region of Brussels. In the 19 municipalities of Brussels, we have partnerships in Wallonia, but not in the Flemish region. So it might be a new scope for a B4P objectives to attract Flemish partners. And so we are active in this local level, but also in the European level, because of course we need to implement new practices, and we really need new expertise, connect expertise with scientific and economical sectors around these subjects. We aim to empower thematics around social and societal innovation. We create a lot of European projects, local projects, debates, and different strategic projects around inclusiveness, centered approach design, human-centered approach design. And so, for example, our last project was around open spaces in housing, how to develop economical empowerment around these different thematics. So, yeah, I think it's done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Orly. I know it's not still the panel. No worries, we didn't forget you, Selma. But we need to change to the PDF now. Okay, last but not least, I want to introduce Selma Harrington, and she's representing the NEB Forum.
Thank you, Laura. So I suppose coming after Aurélie, I might bring to the table a little bit after your lasagna. I'm bringing in a bit of an Irish stew and a Bosnian pot. Excited to be here and present the New European Bauhaus Forum Bosnia and Herzegovina, which was founded in May 21, connecting virtual and real space in 3 cities in Bosnia, Banja Luka, Mostar, and Sarajevo, with its diaspora, professional diaspora in other places, mainly in Europe and the US. So the forum was formally launched in 22 at the conference of Bosnian American academic diaspora in Sarajevo. Just a little bit, Bosnia is not an EU member, it's a candidate country. It has about 3.5 million population, and it has about probably 800,000 of its diaspora living in the EU in different countries, and about 500 in North America, 1,000 in North America. It's a mountainous country with a tiny exit to the Adriatic Sea, and it had emerged as an independent country, or re-emerged after its long history, after the violent collapse of former Yugoslavia. So the forum is open and polycentric, obviously, and it's primarily a knowledge exchange platform in the field of architecture, urban design, landscape design, arts and humanities, education, environment, heritage, and sustainability. So we really wish to reevaluate locally and regionally in the Western Balkans, because we are at the heart of that there, the practices, policies in built environment, and contribute to this cultural dimension of the Green Deal in Europe, and of course to contribute to the European integration of the country. So at the same time, we wish to strengthen the capacity and capability of local professions in this field to contribute and implement to the new European Bauhaus initiative. So the forum is also obviously by its profile wishing to contribute to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, seeking the paradigm shift locally and regionally in planning and caring for cultural heritage and natural environment, which is also including decarbonizing of former mining regions in the country, which is one emerging big issues. The participating organizations are shown here. So we really are bottom-up network of bottom-up initiatives, mainly outside of institutional framework, with some representation from institutions like Urban Planning Institute and so on through professions. So these are the logos of the participating partners. Architects Association is one of them, Green Building Council, Festival Days of Architecture, Green Design Sarajevo and Mostar Biennale, Center for Spatial Research in Banja Luka, and we have some friends from Spain, Netherlands, Ireland, who are active with many hats, as many of you have. So we really look forward to engage. We feel we will benefit, but we also think we can contribute to all of you, and we look forward to a further development of these clusters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Selma. Please take a seat. And I would also like to invite my colleague Anastasia to join the panel, so then we are complete. Right. And by the way, Aurélie, I have nice Flemish contacts today here, so maybe they can help you with your cost. So that's why we do these kind of events. All right, wait. Yes. Okay. Well, I have a lot of things and not a lot of space. There we go. Well, thank you very much for accepting being in this panel. I think it's a pleasure to be hosting it, and I think for the attendees here, they will be very eager to hear your answers, because they want to know more in depth what's going on, what has been happening, and especially what are the expectations. So first question is going to be for Aurélie. After all this process, the some months or weeks that's been passing by, when you at the beginning were contacted and you decided to join this Built4People Innovation Cluster Network, what are the reasons that made you say yes and apply for this joining the network? We don't have, sorry. Thank you, Karin.
Thank you very much. Yes, at the beginning, it was surprising for us to be contacted by B4P network, B4P initiative, because we are really concentrated on social and societal innovation around and for sustainable built environment. And we are not so technically advanced. And this was the first main reason that we wanted to join B4P network, because it was for us the possibility, the opportunity to cross expertises around scientific and technological expertises with social and societal innovation. For us, it's a transdisciplinarity that we need to create a more sustainable built environment in Europe.
Exactly, this multi-level of technicality and different scopes being in one. Thank you. I have the same question for you, Selma. What made you say yes? What made you apply to join this network?
Yeah, yes, thank you very much. Maybe one word would be synergy, or seeking synergy. And I suppose our route was slightly different. Thanks to my long-term involvement in the Architects Council of Europe, we got and looking at how we can meaningfully engage as architects in European projects. How can we contribute and kind of influence? through that, we got involved in Nebula project, and hence I had a kind of knowledge of the call for innovation clusters. In parallel, we were coming out of COVID, et cetera, isolation. Me being part of diaspora, wearing all these different hats as well, and shifting them to a dizzy level up and down, I felt this is a wonderful opportunity to try to energize my own colleagues in Bosnia and other parts of Europe, and apply as well, you know, and that's basically the way we contacted Built4People and went through the process and benefited, I must say, with advice, and you know, we were given focus by doing so.
Wonderful. I like the synergy word as well. All right, so now we heard two testimonies on why they joined. Now I'm going to ask the process. I mean, it's always good to know. Noelia, that question is for you. I mean, you express interest. We know why some people decided to express their interest. How was the whole process? How was the whole, you know, journey to join the network? We would like to hear your thoughts.
It has been very long because, for example, in our case, we start as a front-runner cluster in the Nebula project. So we have been working together since the very beginning. I remember the day in which Tecnalia called us to make part of this process, and it was like, whoa, what an opportunity, no? Because we have been working from 12 years at a very regional level, and it was an opportunity for us to be at a European level. So we start working with them. We start analyzing what the Built4People was, what an European Bauhaus has as a significance in the back, to cross those both parts with our strategic plan, because for us it's very important to be aligned with the strategic plan. Our members had to decide what they want to do. So that was one of the most important parts, just to explain later them what we want to do. Once those parts were aligned, we have 2 meetings with the board members of the cluster to explain them what we want to do, why we want to be there. And once all of that was done, we signed the chapter in September 2023 as a Built4People Innovation Cluster, and also we signed the charter with Odeis as a meta cluster to work together, because from the previous 2-3 years we have been working together, but without a context to do it. So that was like our 3 years of work to be here today. Yes.
Thank you. And Marcelo, the same question for you. How can you describe us the thoughts and how the process was for you guys? Maybe it was a bit different than building. I don't know. I would like to hear.
Yeah, in a certain sense, I would say that it was a very smooth process and also an incremental process. I mean, we started with figuring out what was actually what meant being an innovation cluster under this network, and these activities was facilitated by contacts with the Nebula partners and also by our national accompanying partner Federcostruzioni. But as Noelia said, this was also an opportunity. I mean, affiliating to the network to explore a bit more, not only the Built4People partnership, but also the NEB value and principles, and how we can bring them in our operational activities that you have seen earlier. We have a quite strong technical background. But we're equally interested into inclusivity, togetherness, and to bring sustainability into to apply it in a broader sense. So it has been an incremental process in terms of filling the self-assessment form at the beginning, and then we had this nice opportunity before working on our maturing roadmap to have some to join some informative sessions, so to go in depth into what it actually is, the Innovation Cluster Network, and to have and this was very, very interesting and useful, to have preliminary exchanges with other clusters. I remember, for example, one virtual matchmaking event related to the Built4People calls. Another webinar in last fall, when we had the opportunity to present ourselves. And I would say that the consequences of these participations were very fruitful, as we were contacted by other organizations and also for cooperation into Built4People calls.
Thank you. Marcello, you mentioned Federconstruzione and you said that they were great accompanying partners. I'm gonna go, no, I mean, it's nice because it's linking, hello. We have some here, yes. And it's my next question is for Anastasia, because as you were mentioning the role of accompanying partners, we know that they've been playing a fundamental role. Anastasia, can you describe, because maybe not everybody here knows what's the role and what's their outcome. So if you could give us 5 cents on that.
So a couple of cents on it. The idea of the Nebula project and of Built4People Innovation Cluster movement is really to create a rather complementary and complex framework, but to hide its complexity for clusters themselves, because the clusters and their members are not particularly interested in theoretical, conceptual, other things. They need something which does work. So our idea was to create this framework which is working, but to smoothen the process for clusters and their members to get into the movement. So from one point of view is to really help them to understand that what they're doing already is very well aligned, or when it's not aligned, how to guide them a little bit better with alignment with European vision, with current initiatives, with European Bauhaus, with Built4People vision. And this was done in the scope of Nebula projects with the mechanism of accompanying partners. So the Nebula partners decided this winning strategy of divide the responsibility between themselves, and different partners were corresponding accompanying partners for clusters from their domain. In many cases, it was the simplification. For example, the Italian partners were helping Italian clusters, while from ECTP side, we were accompanying the Innovation for Society, and in the way that different partners were helping to explain the elements of the framework, or explaining what the cluster should do or should not do. And in the first, the first one is really to make them not being afraid. So once again, this movement is not something which is imposed on the clusters. This is something which they have already in their development. And the main idea of the accompanying partner was to put in front the strengths of the clusters which exist already, and really to help them to align with the current movement of European Bauhaus and Built4People. So apparently it has been done comparatively successfully, and we just hope to continue in the same and more empowered way.
All right, thank you. So talking about something went well, I'm gonna jump to something maybe not didn't go so well, or something that represented a challenge for you. So my next question is for Selma. What would you say were the bigger challenges with all this process? I mean,
well, from my perspective, I think it seems to me a lot of the clusters, or a lot of these initiatives, operate in a space which is sort of occupied maybe by NGOs. It's social entrepreneurship. It's an informal or lesser sort of articulated type of entrepreneurship that we are operating with, because looking at the New European Bauhaus values, for example, it is sort of challenging to a certain extent the way things are done or the way things are perceived. So we are operating in the form of business startups, but a lot on relying on voluntary work, which is not sustainable long term. So I think the challenges are constantly creating contextual understanding for the clusters themselves, but also for the environment. So sort of promoting what's the new added value that this type of activity brings in, and what can it achieve that can have a meaningful impact for society and economy. So it's kind of expressed in statistics that you were able to show, but I wasn't, for example. So the challenges are, you know, clarity of purpose and support, funding for that, I think, and then constant sort of motivation and among the cluster. That is particularly relevant in maybe post-conflict societies, or in societies where there is not enough local or regional integration. So we would have a lot of that in common, even though in different contexts and for different reasons. So that's where we need support, because we are operating in the context of European diversity and mobility, but that does need delicate nurturing and support.
Yeah. Okay. I keep in mind the value proposition and the funding. Really, I think something we're going to keep hearing later for sure. All right. So the same question for you, Marcello. What would you describe that were they were your challenges?
I would say, yeah, one challenge was when we have to work on our maturing roadmap. I mean, we had to reflect on ourselves. So the starting point where we are and when we would like to go in the mid long term 2-3 next years. So we had this internal work together with our managing directors and our innovation manager to figure out a bit more where we would like to position ourselves in the next future. And finally, we realized also with the support of again of the Nebula partners that we have a quite high level of maturity under the successful factor in some cases. In other cases, we can improve a bit more. And this regards, for example, the multi-objective success factor. So integrating more the NEB values in our works and promoting the NEB towards our cluster members, and also to be more vertically integrating from the local to the European level. Not only for Abitec as a cluster organization, but also for our members. So just to connect with what Selma said before me, another challenge is to make sure that our cluster members, and most of them are SMEs, not like familiar maybe with some concepts like the NEB, to like recognize the added value of taking consideration these activities, also for funding for sure, but also to make aware that maybe some of their market and operational activities still incorporate these values. So this is an important raising awareness work that we are expected to do, and we're very looking forward to it.
Amazing. Yes, indeed. So you have nice years ahead with the rain. And I also keep in mind the connection with the members. I think that's very important, something we will be discussing probably later, or in the project that Claudia will present later as well. Okay, so I like to usually end the panels with positive thoughts. And for that, I would like you to tell me what are the lessons learned, but not that. So imagine that you have a crystal ball and you see the future, right? What would be the desired outcome that you expect from this network? So what is like, okay, my wish list. And first I will start with Noelia.
For us are like two main desires. Some of them for us as a cluster, we want to increase or continue increasing our visibility and our activity at the European level to share our knowledge with other clusters and to grow as a cluster, and also continue contributing to the general objectives of the European Commission to continue pushing the transition. No? And also a desire as a network, we thought that being able to connect a lot of cluster, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of members is a good tool to boost the transition we need. So that are like the main desires for us. Yes.
Thank you. And the same question to end with Aurelie. So what would be your desired expected outcomes?
So, of course, as a cluster, it would be great to become an established cluster and to gain all the objectives of the roadmap. To do that, of course, we need to exchange more, to work a lot. But our desire is to empower social innovation in the European built environment, because our DNA is the NEB values. And we know that we need to empower participatory processes from citizens, inhabitants, human-centered approach for the built environment. So this would be like my main desire for, of course, Brussels, Belgium, but for Europe too. Yes, to do this voluntary lobbying for the societal values.
Indeed, human centricity. It's something that we will link later with the Built4People projects that we'll present now. I would like to please give a round of applause to this amazing panel we have. Thank you very much. And we continue. So if you can see it, maybe now we will have two testimonial projects. We will have first, if I'm not mistaken, Carmine, who will present project, and we'll link on how the innovation, the research, and the human centricity link with the Built4People partnership and the Built4People projects as well.
Hello, good morning. So my name is Carmine Pascale, and I work for Stress. Maybe you've heard our company name. And actually, I will translate it in English. Actually, it is. We are the high technology district for sustainable construction. I'm stressing the word district because also Marcello used it. In Italy, there was a moment in which the word for clusters was district. So we were established as a non-profit public-private consortium in 2010 with the aim of promoting innovation in the construction sector to a network between research institutes and companies. And then we were recognized by the Ministry of Research as a high technology district for construction, for sustainable construction, actually. I will not, if someone of you understands Italian, the name in Italian for stress is here. I will not try to translate it, but it's a stress also to translate it in English. But as you can see here, our mission and our objectives, you will understand the compliance with both the values and the success factors of being a cluster. We were a cluster before the name cluster was used in Italy. We were a cluster before even thinking of joining the Built4People Innovation Cluster Network. We group research centers, universities, and private companies. We are active at regional, national, and European level. And we also, let's say, have other connections, local connection. We are rooted in southern Italy, but with connection all over the country in Italy. We provide services because through our innovation activities, we gave birth to some startups and spin-off companies that provide digital services, but we also we are still finalizing the construction of other testing infrastructures. So we are active on the territory, and we are a node of a wider network, but a cluster locally that spreads the values from the Built for People program. And also we wish to collect inputs from the territory and bring it to a higher level. Here you see some of our actions and some of our infrastructures. But then this, let's say, clustering activity brought us also to, gives us a added value also in European actions. We are partners in the Kalesh project. It's a Built for People project on cultural heritage. Kalesh stands for Coherent, Acceptable, Low Emission Cultural Heritage Efficient Renovation. So the project is totally in line with the objectives that we are talking about. The partners of Kalesh, some of the partners are also present here apart from stress, but the added value for being a cluster is that we brought in the partnership some of our shareholders as affiliated entities, and providing also, let's say, research action to the project. And also Kalesh addresses all these pillars that overlap with the objectives and that we have seen before. So involves citizens in decision making, introduces sustainable technologies that are very hard to apply on cultural heritage, on protected buildings, safeguards endangered heritage, and it's a EU-funded research and innovation, and cooperates among partners from different countries. We brought to the project, for being a cluster, also a pilot, a demo site. So we could provide to our network, our local network, we could provide also, we could involve as an external actor, the regional that gave us the use of a building, an ancient building, for demonstrating the activities. Kalesh aims to find ways to support decision on sustainable renovation of heritage buildings. So we are developing a decision support system to drive the application of specifically 3 renovation techniques. So photovoltaic modules that are very hard to apply on heritage buildings, bio-based insulation, and historic window retrofit. This is what the project aims. But overall, the project is based on a very strong involvement of local stakeholders. So we are driving workshops on sustainable to drive the heritage, cultural heritage renovation in Villa Matarazzo, that is in Portici, in Ercolanum. And we've been promoting different meetings with stakeholders at different levels, regional with local authorities, research centers, but also with, this is from last week. These are the meetings from last week, stakeholders with solution providers or construction companies, and also professionals. And this is one of the added values. So the togetherness, we drive the stakeholder campaigns. And that's all from my side, I hope.
Thank you so much, Carmine. All right. Last but not least, we have Claudia, she's from Novatec, and she will present us the Star Trek project. So Claudia, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm here in the first place to say that Nebula ends, but Built for People and the Built for People Innovation Cluster Network, they don't end, they are continued. For the moment being in the Star Trek project. So this is also sort of a handover from one to the other project. So the Star Trek objectives, of course, we can build on the foundational work done by Nebula, where we also have contributed a little. Our main focus is not necessarily on the NEP, But this doesn't mean we will not continue to work on it. On the contrary, we had a workshop yesterday where we saw what are the things that our partners would like that we strengthen and or continue, and the NEB and the NEB advisor network and so on, they have been part of it. So we are completely aware that we have also to continue this work. But the Star Trek goes like a step higher or deeper. I don't know how to you look at it. So whereas Nebula has started to create this or helped to create this Built for People innovation cluster and started to create the network, Star Trek will continue to do that. We will expand the network and strengthen it. For the moment being, or in Nebula, the support we have given was mainly to the managers of Built for People Innovation Cluster in the setup, helping NEB advisors to understand the NEB and so on, to make the enigma of the NEB less an enigma and to understand it, to apply it, and so on. Here we are going one step further. We actually want to focus on the fast tracking of demonstration and innovation. You will see this a little later on other slide as well. We will work on the enabling conditions to do this transfer, and we will help with tools. We will continue to work on financing tools. You have heard of the financial help desk in Nebula. We will continue the work on other issues, for example, innovation funds that were not so much worked upon. We will create, or World GBC will create a European Financiers Forum, which will be important for you or your members to access to finance. And DAWL will work on green procurement. So all things that we are continuing to working on this financial level, but we also will want to help on the development of innovation, of innovative technologies and solutions. And this is less maybe an offer to you as cluster members. I think most of you are cluster managers. I think most of you are cluster managers, but to your members that want to engage in innovation. So we want to really support companies that would like to engage in innovation, or SMEs, and often don't have neither the skills nor maybe the qualified people inside and the time to do it. To give them information, training, and also direct them to experts that are able to help to enable innovation in SMEs. This is also very important because we want to showcase the innovations that have been created in projects that have been financed by the European Commission in different programs that could be taken up from companies and be brought to the market, but also to simply assist them in their own R&D processes. Then I think that's more or less what I said. And of course, the Built for People Innovation Cluster Network will be crucial in order to distribute what we do, all the help and services that we will create. We don't create from scratch. We bring in support materials from other projects because we are a CSA, but we will try to replicate and also to distribute at large scale this kind of information. So I think it was Anna that said it. What is the Built for People network? I think right now, and you show it very clearly when I listen to you, it's a community of interest, which is already great. But we wanted to make a community of practice that can meet physically. It's also something you have in the questionnaire said you want to meet physically, which is very important. But you can continue this dialogue also on a virtual platform, which is www.metabuilding.com, where the Built for People Innovation Cluster Network is meeting, where you can exchange information, ideas. You can upload information, documents, guides that you want to share, and we will do that, of course, from the project. And there is a working group that you might have seen already. You will see tomorrow in ACE, where that's a working group for NEB advisors. So this is also the link to the NEB. I think I will not maybe talk about everything, but this gives you and your companies or members visibility on European level. Also the platform itself, but also the Built for People Innovation Cluster Network that wants to be this community of interest and practice and a virtual meeting point for Built for People Innovation Clusters, but also for members of that want to be involved directly. So I was also asked that I should say something about the benefits and impacts of cluster joining Built for People projects. Carmine has talked about it. It's also something interesting. Most of the companies I have been in contact with in Build-In, for example, or in others, the Built for People Innovation Cluster in our region, companies are sometimes scared to engage in European project. They don't know what it is about. And Star Trek will also start to develop an approach on how to come to clusters and help clusters to gather their members, to see if they have members that have synergies and to a joint value proposition, and that we can basically inject them or this joint value proposition into European projects, lowering the barriers and hurdles for them to be engaged in these kind of projects, and also telling them where to find money and how to go about it. This is basically a thing we will test inside Star Trek, but of course then we will share with all of you and try to give you some hints and tips and tricks on how to best to do that. And last but not least, I was talking about the access to testing facilities. The Star Trek project has taken the philosophy to hook up with already other projects that are existing, which are creating OITBs, Open Innovation Test Beds. For those that don't know what this is, these are networks of testing facilities, most often covering several member states. You see here one example, Meta Building Labs, but there are two others, Meseroe and iClimaBuild. And all the three of them have responded to a topic that is on materials in building envelopes. And it's testing to join their forces to create the single entry point. And for your members and also for yourselves, they could be the go-between, or you could be the go-between between your members and these open innovation test beds that are offering services in terms of testing, but, and this is maybe more the link to the NEP, in terms of living labs, where you can test with user involvement and so on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Claudia. Okay, we know that has been dense, and we know that you want a coffee break, but there's questions before. So no questions, no coffee break, as I said. So hands up. Who has a question, please let me know your name, the company, and if you want to ask a specific question to someone of the panel that we have here. So please tell me, I address the question to whatever, or if not, I will assign the question to someone. It's gonna be fun. Questions? I'm gonna wait. So. Yay, question. Karin, Clementine, can you help me with the, thank you. This one, is there one? Oh, I can go, wait. Hello?
Hi. Good morning, Laura Van Huet. I am working in the research sectors in the built and housing sector since years, and I am a specific question about the context of innovation, because the construction and housing sector is facing some big constraints, which is economic and financial. And I am wondering how the new European Bauhaus or such program like your program is facing those issues, because on the ground it is something which is the biggest issue now. And I am wondering what kind of answers you have relating to these very important issues.
But you are asking the project, how the project is facing. Okay. Then I don't know. Clementine, you are the one. I thought it would be fun. So
Karen, you want to comment or should I? No, really, I don't. Maybe Eleftherios want to comment on the programs, on the economic aspect? Would you like to comment? Thank you.
But from what perspective on the economic aspects?
Yes, I mean, in concrete project, you see that you have increased price in construction cost. You have increased price and less ground to build, and you have also some big issue on how to finance affordable housings. So therefore, innovation is so the way to support by the Commission since years do more with less is not working really on the ground. So therefore, innovation is really, I mean, real innovation is financed by most of the time fundings, public fundings, but without this support, it is almost no innovation possible. Therefore, to scale innovation, it is the question how to do it.
Well, if I understand correctly, when it comes, for example, for existing projects that, for example, had started before the invasion in Ukraine, before the energy crisis and so on, they had the foreseen budget. The horizon rules are very specific. Budget cannot change. But of course, we have flexibility in terms of a project that is facing increased cost and so on. We can discuss and we can formulate an amendment and change the scope of the project. Or if they declare increased costs and these costs are justified, again, these costs can be accepted, but we cannot increase the budget of projects if this is what you are referring to.
Thank you. I think Claudia wants to answer, right? Claudia, can you stand up, please?
I don't know if
Thank you.
I don't know if I understood your question correctly, but you say maybe innovation is not the answer necessarily to the problem the sector is focusing or having currently. Okay. I've been in different now meetings in different countries and have exchanged with a lot of Built4People innovation clusters and others in France, in Hungary. And what really strikes me a lot is people are only talking, yes, but the economy is going down. We have we are not building anymore. We can't build and so on. And this is in their preoccupation. And I understand. Don't get me wrong. But instead of maybe switching to new models and focusing on business strategies and business models around renovation, they still want to go for new build. And I think this is actually where Built4People innovation clusters and innovation in general should try to push a shift, because a lot of innovation construction companies, they want to construct in the same way they are doing it already and continue that way. And this business is going down. Yes, we know, but let's help them to focus on other business that is focusing on renovation and other business models. That would be my answer. And this with innovation we can do. And with the joint network of Built4People innovation clusters, we can also maybe push into this direction.
Thank you, Claudia. No. I have Anastasia who asked me to, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I would just like to complement to the previous answers to introduce a different direction to this answer, because speaking of Nebula project as well as Star Trek, we're not the innovation action, we're coordination and support action. So our mission here is to help the Built4People innovation clusters to communicate their innovations from their level and to make them known by other people. So the complementary activity of these projects is really coordination, support action. And this is done already by different means, by peer learning activities, by, well, we've done a rather nice booklet of innovations communicated by the projects. So it's really slightly different dimension, how we can contribute to innovation, not directly, but indirectly, however, rather strongly.
Thank you. I think there, Carmine wanted to, I mean, one question, so many answers. Good.
I don't know if I will really answer to your question, but my experience in different projects is also referred to demonstration actions, so validation of technologies. And one important part in evaluating, in assessing innovation is also, I will say some word that will wake up some people in the room. We're using pilot sites as living labs to get the feedbacks from all the stakeholders in the value chain on that specific innovation, in evaluating the specific innovation. And also the economic evaluation is one of the points. Is that specific innovation really worth? Is it really economically sustainable? This is one of the issues that we are trying to test in the piloting activities. So maybe to give more importance on the results of, like, let's say, the return on investment results related to innovation could be one of them, let's say, results to highlight more for the practitioners.
Thank you, Carmine. And Aurélie?
Another answer, sorry. Brussels point of view. When I was talking about societal innovation, is about also questioning governances, new economical models. Here in Brussels, we have a big crisis of housing, affordable housing. This is why social housing asks us to create this dynamic. And for example, one of our members, some of our members, not one, are questioning new ways of building houses. So, for example, they're just taking best practices from Canada and trying to implement them here in Brussels. We have, for example, the community land trust processes. I don't know if you heard about it, but it's new governances, new models that can, with less funds, a little bit more. So they're existing, but of course we have to empower them and we have to spread them. I'm not sure that all European countries knows those types of processes. So we might need some, spreading words to exchange best practices, less and more.
Thank you, Aurélie. A very good point. Okay, no more answers. Another question, maybe, is that one question more? I'll wait. Maybe someone is shy and they, no. Oh, yes, you do. You see, we just need to wait some seconds and.
Hi, I'm Bart from ICLA Europe. Really nice presentations and really good insights. Just wondering, Nebula is ending the mission probably, but the whole work will continue. I wonder if the speakers or people involved in the project share, let's say, 3 things that you wish you had carried through the time of the project, or something that would be picked for the next projects. Just 3 things. Thanks.
3 things. Claudia, I'm coming closely to you. You knew that was for you. I mean, yes, actually the work carried
on Nebula. It will continue, not completely, somehow, partially, but I think Claudia can answer.
It's difficult to answer because we had this workshop yesterday internally, and we had a lot of to increase, make more of it, to whatever. We didn't have nearly any on stop, less of this, and so on. So difficult maybe to answer. For me, I think less of is we tried to inform cluster members on what's Built for People innovation cluster and stuff in dedicated meetings with not nobody, but very few presents. So less of this and more integrating maybe slots on what Built for People is doing, Built for People Innovation Cluster Networking is doing, and so on. Now the Star Trek project is doing in your events. Invite us, and we are happy to talk about it, because I think this is how we reach people. And if we do mono-specific events, no companies will have the time nor the interest, nor they have to work. They don't have to attend these kind of meetings. So happy to be, or we all in Star Trek, to be part in your meetings and share the message. Less of, yeah, I think, but it was also the way the project was set up. Nebula was mainly focusing on, and I said it already, on putting in place the system, the tools, the Built for People Innovation Cluster and the network. And I think now we have to concentrate on the content, and especially on the members, because the Built for People Innovation Cluster managers, they are great, but it's not them that are doing the innovation, it's your members. And we have to get through to them. And this was really difficult sometimes. And we were faced to have very few participation often, and always the same companies, and you think you live in a bubble. And I think our goal must be to integrate more SMEs or other actors and in this process, and to show them they can do it as well. There is money out there, we can help them, and so on.
And one thing I can say, it went out from that discussion, was more translation to local languages as well, because the more regional, local, national we go, the more spread we have. And I think more face-to-face meetings, more collaboration, more synergies. So still, that was on the keep. So I'll do it more. So anyway, I think we reached time.
Okay, well, we have a tight timeline, because if you want to have a lunch, we have to finish at 1:30. So that's why you have to come back in. Otherwise, there will be no lunch for us. All right, and I now would like to introduce the second session of this morning, which I have the pleasure to moderate. This session will focus on building renovation and how to better integrate the NEB values into renovation. Why renovation? Well, that's really simple. It's because most of the B4P projects focus on solutions for renovation, can be technical innovation, but also societal innovation. And that's why we wanted today to introduce you this topic and give the floor to 4 B4P projects. But we will start the session by introducing the New European Bauhaus and how we have integrated the NEB into our projects and the activities we have built around it. Then we have presentation by these 4 projects, followed by a panel discussion, and then hopefully some time at the end for a Q&A before we all go to lunch. I will now give the floor to my colleague Clementine from Dowell Innovation, and also to Larissa De Rosso from ACE to introduce our project activities related to the New European Bauhaus.
Thank you, Karine. So I will be very brief, but the idea is indeed to give you a few hints on the activities that we perform within the Nebula project in relation to supporting the adoption of the New European Bauhaus principles. So I will not introduce the European Bauhaus principles because we have a very knowledgeable audience here. So I will only recall the motto, beautiful, sustainable, and together. In 2023, we developed and we released the first NEB handbook. The idea was to gather in one document 3 key components. First of all, list the sources of information and knowledge about the European Bauhaus, give some theory, detail the principles. First of all, detail the principles and the theory. What are the concepts behind the new Bauhaus? Second, to list the information and the key initiatives inside and outside the Commission that were emerging in relation to the European Bauhaus. And third part, to give some concrete examples to show some project that really embodied these NEB concepts. So we listed a few, we described very briefly some projects, and they cover some of them cultural heritage, some cover new building design, some cover renovation project, and also some district regeneration schemes. Then in 2024, we did a webinar series that we entitled New Bauhaus Stories. That was a great opportunity to connect with many initiatives and projects that were addressing different aspects in relation to the NEB. We had a first episode that we organized with the Craft Cities project, NEBstar and Revalue, and we focused on the co-design process in regeneration schemes. The second episode, organized by Technalia, was more focused on describing a project that won some NEB prizes, and it was a satellite event of the NEB Festival. In the third episode, we worked with the EIT community NEB, and the idea was really to showcase their program of funding and coaching of local NEB projects and to give the floor to some of these projects. Then we had episode 4 that were focused on renovation and the NEB, so a bit like this session today, with the support of the Built Up platform. And again, with Built Up, we had the last episode organized by ACE that was more focused on research and education in relation to the European Bauhaus. In complement to this webinar series, we had 2 live events. First one in Sustainable Places 2024. This conference really gathers people that are participating to all EU-funded projects in relation to the built environment, especially Built4People projects. So let's say it's more an engineering conference. And the idea was really to bring the European Bauhaus concept there, to discuss with the projects how they apprehend these concepts, how they could implement them so far, and what are the challenges that they were facing when implementing them. We had really nice interaction in this workshop, and we had the chance to present a synthesis of the outcome of this session at the DGNEB final event. That was another opportunity to have some peer learning on the topic. And I will now give the floor to my colleague from ACE, Larissa Neroso, who will tell you a few words about the NEB Advisors Network.
Thank you, Clementine. So yes, I had a pleasure to put together this nice NEB Advisor Network. The network started in 2023. We had like 5 members, and throughout 2023, 2024, and now 2025, we grew this community. Basically, now we have 21 NEB advisors on board. We will have, of course, everyone is welcome to join us. If you would like, please send an email to me or to Clementine. We can welcome you in this NEB advisor community. So the last meeting will be tomorrow with the community as part of Nebula project. However, the community is continuing in a Star Trek project. So please feel free to send us email. I will be one of the NEB advisors as part of Star Trek. So I'm happy and very proud of this community. And I think it's a great place for exchange and understanding of the new European Bauhaus, how we are implementing at national level. So, Clementine.
Thanks a lot, Larissa. All right, and I now would like to welcome our speakers. And we will start with Coralie Vela from R2M, who will present the region project.
So, hello everybody, I'm Coralie from R2M France. And as you may have understood, I am going to present how we integrate NEB's value and approach in Regen. So that's why I've taken care of like presenting objective, solution, and demonstration by also highlighting NEB's approaches and NEB's values. Just a quick overview before starting. Regen means regeneration of neighborhoods towards a low carbon, inclusive, and affordable built environment. It has been funded under Horizon Europe topic. So it's the one that you see on the screen. We follow this project since like more than 1 year, thanks to the coordination of lists, but also thanks to the work of 23 partners. So if we go back to the subject, here you can see the main objective of Regen, which is a pave innovative pathway for the decarbonization of European neighborhoods and cities, tackling urgent socioeconomic, climate, and built environment challenges. So here we can see that we address 2 NEB values, which is sustainability and inclusiveness, for example, by influencing and confirming virtuous lasting behavioral changes of citizens and economic actors towards lower carbon footprints, lifestyles, and businesses. But also we are tackling one of the NEB's approach by applying a systemic approach, because we see a regeneration project as a whole. So we integrate many stakeholders' point of view. And also we are tackling NEB's approach as we have targeted the neighborhood scale. So regarding the stakeholders and regarding the methodology, the first step is to engage them. Then we are going to guide and enable them to act in the regeneration project by providing them with tools and also assessments. It came from like a regeneration intervention catalog for municipalities, but also a specific toolbox for citizens. And above all, we are going to implement a living place called the neighborhood regeneration offices, so that every stakeholders can meet. And regarding the region toolbox, it also tackles one of the approach, because these 2 examples are actually tailor-made solutions for different communities. So for the first one, so the MUST tool, it's a software and a hardware system which supports the engagement and the participation of citizens in urban planning. And the fact is that it can be used at several stages. So at the beginning of urban planning projects by co-creating the features, and also as a more mature level, because it can permit to gather feedback on impacts and also in improvements for the regeneration project. So it has several purposes. As much as it can be used by citizens, but also other stakeholders such as urban planners, because it can permit to like visualize some data. And it's the same idea for the second tool, which is an urban digital twin tool, and it's used to implement coherent and effective decarbonization plan for any built environment asset. So here again, different purpose. And also one main point is that the 2 tools that I have presented are really designing to fit each of the demonstration site characteristic. As you can see, there is several and like a diversity of demonstration site. There is a rural area in Luxembourg, an historic town center in Spain, also an urban area in Italy, and the city center in Ireland. So this diversity also tackle one of the NEB's approach. And just to finish, I didn't forget like the aesthetic value of NEB, and I just wanted to conclude by saying that this kind of project, like integrating citizens in designing their own neighborhoods, it creates and reinforces the sense of place and identity. So here again, NEB's value, yeah, that is tackled. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Coralie. And I now would like to welcome to the floor Julen Estudillo from Tecnalia, who will present the IGEA project. IGEA was one of the first projects to be funded under the Built4People Partnership. So it would be, I think, a complex task for you, Julen, to synthesize in a couple of minutes what they have done, because I think your project is rather mature now.
12 minutes or 8 minutes? Okay. So thank you, Karin. I'm going to give you a fast overview of the project, because later in the afternoon we are going to have a workshop around 40 minutes where we are going to explain more about the technologies and the way that we are working in this project. So very fast, what are the main approaches that we have in the project? The idea is to make refurbishing of buildings using modular and industrialized solutions. We want to integrate as much as possible renewable components and have also an energy management of the entire system to optimize the energy and convert these refurbished buildings into nearly zero energy buildings. We are going to have more or less 4 renovation packages that are going to be adapted to the different requirements from the building and what we want to do with our system. And we are going to complement these physical components with many digital tools that are going to help the different profiles that work in a refurbishing process in different topics. We have a sustainability approach. At the end, we are going to use biomaterials in different components in order to have better behavior of the final system. And the idea is to put the user in the center, make a lot of meetings, give tools to the users in order to have, at the end, a better result of the entire solution. So very fast, these are the 4 packets that we have. The idea is to have an industrialized system, almost everything manufacturing off-site, and with different components that can be increased in complexity from the facade type 1, where we have almost every passive components, to the facade type 4, that we are going to have photovoltaic, heating and cooling system, smart ventilation, hybrid panels, and smart components. So the first part was related to the physical components that we are going to implement as part of the refurbishing, and then we have some digital solutions that are going to help to the different profiles in the design, the execution, and the operation services. In the design, we are going to have some building performance, so we will know what are the possibilities of the building related to the solar generation, how we can integrate this ventilation system in a semi-automatic way, how we can adapt the facade of our project to the specific building, and also have some user-friendly components for the final users that we are going to have in the building. Also, we are going to have some tools that are going to help us to collect the data from the building in a very fast and accurate way, to optimize the operation and predict how the system is going to behave, and also implement some wireless sensor infrastructure in the building to collect all this data, not only during the installation, but after, during the operation. And on the operation, we are going to have a dynamic logbook that is going to check all the data from the building. We are going to have a building operator service that is going to give information to the final users to see what are the configuration of the building and how this can be implemented in a better way. This is connected by some tools that are going to manage all these small services that are connected finally to a digital twin of the building that is going to collect and analyze all the information. The project is quite big, so we have 4 demonstrators across Europe trying to demonstrate that the idea can be implemented in different typologies of buildings. We have a first demonstrator in Spain that is in a school. You can see the previous stage and how it's going to finish in the building, in the project. An elderly home in France. This is the idea that we have. We have put the design in the center of the process, and our system is quite flexible, so we can have, with the same system, different configurations that can adapt to the requirements of the users and the architects. Also, we have a building in Denmark that is going to have this type of facade, completely different, including some photovoltaic components, ventilation system, and also we have a small house in Romania that we want to test, what can be the approach if we have this type of complex architecture that sometimes for industrialized system is quite complicated to be adapted. So in resume, these are more or less how we are going to improve these different topics, design, using these digital tools to help the architect to improve the way that they make the refurbishing, put the energetic and sustainable behavior in the front. So we're using this industrialized and modular system, all the digital tools, etc., to have the better result. Have this digital twin to check that everything is working properly during the operation time. Reduce the time on site having this industrialized system. So at the end, the idea is to reduce almost 50% the time needed to implement this system because they are work as a curtain wall. So you go to the site and put almost the complete system. Reduce the cost because all these tools are going to help reduce the cost across the entire process. Improve the use comfort. At the end, the idea is to reduce cost, but not reduce the comfort of the users. We are going to have some implementation of ventilation equipment that is going to help to have a better interior behavior. Reduce the embodied energy, having new materials, eco materials, sustainability approach across the entire process, and also the recycle and biosource materials that are going to help us to achieve this objective, taking into account that we are going to have a circular approach to the entire process. This is more or less the main objectives that we have in the project. As commented, the project is quite big. We are 29 partners, 9 countries. We are more or less in the middle of the project. We are going to finish at the end of the next year. Now we have finished designing everything, what in the process of manufacturing, and during this year we are going to make the implementation in the buildings. And as you can see, we cover almost the entire value chains of a construction process, a refurbishing process, involving companies from all parts of Europe. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Roland. Perfect timing. Well done. Thanks a lot. All right, and now Caroline Spearings from Vito will present the Drastic project.
Thank you, Karine, and I will switch from good morning to good afternoon because we are already after 12. Caroline Spearings from Vito, the Flemish Institute for Technological Research. In Vito, I'm one of the project managers that is sustainability and circularity assessments within the built environment, and of course very proud to be the coordinator of this Drastic project, where we try to drive sustainability to the next level in Europe. We are working there together with 23 partners from 8 different European countries. And it's not just a fancy acronym, Drastic. It really stands for something. So with Drastic, we would like to demonstrate real and affordable sustainable building solutions with top-level whole life cycle performance and improved circularity.
By means of 5 demonstrator projects nicely spread across Europe, we try to showcase that by implementing circularity strategies at different levels of the building scale. I mean, the building skin and the internal things. So at the different layers of brand, for those that are familiar with that, we would like to showcase that we can easily reduce not only the operational energy, but also the embodied energy or the embodied carbon, but also reduce waste, and actually in the end improve the total life cycle performance of these construction solutions at the building level. And we didn't select these demonstrators just at random. So we used some evaluation or selection criteria. So for us, it was important to focus on the most impactful building layers. Important was also to make sure that we had all building value chain actors on board. It's useless to just work together with an architect without involving building material producers, policymakers, research, market players, and so on. So the entire construction value chain was important to involve. And of course, this is a European project financed by the European Union under Horizon Europe. It was important also to cover different geographical contexts. And we are convinced that with the demonstrators that we have now in Drastic, we really will work towards the Green Deal. So it's really taking action, making sure that Europe becomes great again. No, that's Trump's words. Climate neutral continent by 2050. I do not have the time to to explain all the details for each of the demonstrators, but just for each of them, quickly focusing a bit on the objectives. So the Spanish demonstrator is focusing on the reduction of the environmental impacts by means of 2 things, by means of innovations in the cement and the production of the cement, and on the other hand, also the steel. So they are going to reuse structural steel beams, and they are going to repurpose the white slag that is used in concrete, both to lower the total environmental impact. Second demonstrator is in Germany. There, the focus, they would like to showcase circular solutions to improve thermal insulation, and then specifically for German apartment buildings, where they develop circular ethics to boost energy efficiency, both in new as well as in existing buildings for renovation. The third demonstrator is located in Norway. And by this demonstrator, we would like to prove the viability of multi-cycle, easy-fix building frames using reclaimed wood. So we are developing there and validating there a modular building frame with reclaimed wood, focusing on multi-design, easy assembly, easy disassembly, and promoting sustainable timber construction. And if you want to know more about this one, the leading lady from Entree is also here present today. Wendy, if you raise your hand, people know where to find you later on during the lunch. Estonia. There we focus on to develop and validate bio-based multi-cycle panels with energy generation to reduce the energy use, but also in a circular way. And then finally in France, there we focus on proving the potential of reusing interior space products like ceiling tiles and partitional walls with main focus or target application area in office retrofits, so the renovation over there. Key in Drastic was a collaborative approach. I mentioned it already. We cannot do it on our own as a single actor in the value chain. We have to work together. So one of the first tasks we did in Drastic was to map different kind of stakeholders across Europe, but also at the ecosystems in the countries where we have the 5 demonstrators. And it was actually the World Green Building Council and the team of Laura that was leading this map. And I'm very proud and happy to share it with you. You can download it easily from our website. It's maybe not so visible, and I hope the slides will be shared afternoon, but it could be also useful for your projects. We are talking here about circular strategies, and we also use measurability as our compass. So we will look for each of the 5 demonstrators, what is happening today? What if we do not include these kind of circular solutions? And what if we are going to include, and how shall we include it in the best way? And for that, we need something, we need a compass. And we looked around and we know that LCA and LCC and social LCA can be very useful, but the methods as they are today are not yet fully accommodated with our needs. They are still too linear. So in Drastic, we are developing a multi-cycle assessment framework that will help us to measure, are we really going in the right direction? And also help us to develop the most circular, most sustainable solutions. And the reason why I'm mentioning it here is that this was also a co-creation process. We were sitting together with CEN, the European Normalization Committees, with representatives from the European Commission, with a lot of researchers, but also architects and people that have to apply and do not always understand what LCA and LCC is about. Co-creation at the different demonstrators levels, because there you also need to sit together with all the actors. Not everyone is aware about the opportunities. It's not at this Green Deal and this transition to a more sustainable built environment. It's not a threat, it's an opportunity. And a lot of value chain actors don't realize yet. And by working together, by sitting together, by not just having a workshop, but by really have co-creation workshops, it will steer collaboration, it will engage participants or actors, and it will also make sure that people really take ownership. And Wendy is the proof that, because they recently had one of these co-creation workshops in Norway, and it really works. And then finally, and this is really my last slide. What we also did, we had some co-creation sessions, but really with designers and architects, because these are really important actors because they have a lot of responsibility. They have to take a lot of decisions. Based on these sessions, of course, they acknowledge that it is important to reduce the ecological footprint. Yes, but for them, it's also important. We want to design buildings or building solutions with a low environmental impact, but these cannot come with additional economical costs. Affordability is very important. Next to that, they also said, yeah, there need to be sources, there need to be available flows that we can use or reuse, also important. And of course, quality, we are talking about buildings. The technical qualities are actually the starting point. And then finally, and that was triggering me the most when we talked about this compass and the measurability, they also said sustainability, and I think this is really also the topic of today, it's also about beauty. It's also about cultural heritage, and how can we measure? And that's maybe a nice question for the audience for later on. So thank you for your attention. All the partners, 23, which are involved in the project, if you want to know more, my contact details are there, and you can also check out the website.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Caroline. And we'll finish this round of presentation with a rehouse project presented by Vula Dimitriadou from the University of Tras.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me today to present the rehouse project. And then okay, our project's objectives are to implement a people-centric social engagement strategy. We count a lot in creating, and we have already, social task forces, reduce on-site construction time, increase affordability of renovation, improve living comfort, promote use of renewable and recycled materials, reduce CO2 emissions, and be part of stimulating the renovation wave in Europe. There are 8 renovation packages from technology readiness level 4 to 5 to 6. They are integrating bio-resource reuse recycled materials, multifunctional designs, and on-site renewable energy sources valorization. They consist of 4 building envelope innovations, 2 additional envelope solutions, and 2 energy system modernization. They are expected to boost market uptake, scalability, replicability towards technology readiness level 9. We have, for this purpose, we have 4 demo sites, 1 in France, 1 in Hungary, 1 in Italy, and 1 in Greece, which I am representing today, the Chimeria pilot site, which is owned by the Democritus University of Thrace. Not all renovation packages are adapted in all. There is a, sorry. Some renovation packages go to some demo sites, not all in all. Our target groups are, depending on the country and the situation, homeowners, tenants, public sector organization, real estate developers, commercial building owners, property management companies, designers, developers, policymakers, local municipalities, and research communities. Our renovation package is in a little bit more detailed. Is a multi-sourced heat pump, an adaptable dynamic building envelope, a smart wall, a centralized holistic H&C renovation kit, a multi-purpose facade system with bio-based insulation and BIPV, the panoramic system, which is also a building envelope, activated cellulose thermal insulation made of wood waste, an intelligent window system. The rehouse renovation principles applied to the corresponding renovation packages, high use of recycled or biosourced materials in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost all of the renovation packages, prefabricating and prefabrication and industrialization. Renovation packages 2, 3, 6, and 8 are prefabricated and then commissioned and brought and installed to the pilot sites. Multifunctionality, integration of on-site renewable energy sources, and smart management of energy transfer. Sorry. Yeah. I'm okay. Now regarding the Greek demo site, which I know a little bit better, this is the campus, the university campus on the biggest picture, and the 2 small ones show the different views of the building. We are applying the renovation packages 1, 2, and 3. It's a residential building, of course. It houses students. It has more 54 or more rooms in 3 floors and almost 1,200 square meters. The renovation had to take under consideration the fact that there are students there. They have special needs regarding to their studies and their exam periods and so on and so forth. So we had to take that under consideration and make the construction time very as small as possible, as short as possible, and as convenient as possible for the tenants. As of the social aspects of our demo site, as mentioned, the student housing, all energy costs for heating, cooling, and hot water are covered by the university and the government bodies that partially give money for this. We live in an environment that is particularly cold in the winter and particularly hot in the summer. So the heating and cooling system had to be very efficient. We also have other renovation. There is a renovation chance in other student because the Democritus University of Thrace has facilities in 4 cities in the Thrace area region. So this is a high expectancy of reusing these the results of this project. So 3 more campuses could benefit from its replication. So the renovation packages we have installed is the multi-sourced heat pump, the adaptable dynamic building envelope, and the smart wall. This is a multi-stakeholder engagement project. As before me, it was mentioned, we can't do it alone. So in order for this project to go ahead and be successful, all of us had to contribute. The university technical services, the government for student housing, the student communities, the students as occupants in the building that was chosen, local communities that are already interested and involved in sustainability issues, local and regional schools, middle schools, high schools, to which we give guided tours for educational purposes so that they can see the renewable energy sources being used in a practical way. As for sustainability, this project and others that have also been implemented contribute to the university's goal for a shift to more and hopefully only solely renewable energy sources. Of course, the possibility of replication throughout the university buildings, not only the residential, but also the academic. In respect to the environment, the dormitories, this one in particular is in the outskirts, is located in the outskirts of a forest area. So it takes account respecting the environment, and access to free electricity, heating and cooling and hot water 24/7 in comparison to the former state that heating, cooling and hot water had to be distributed in some particular time frame. Also the feeling of community and belonging to something more being students. I mean, they participate actively in the project, implementation of the project, so it's also very fulfilling in that way. As of inclusiveness, Greek dormitories in general give priority to offering housing first and foremost to students that are economically or societally challenged. So the rooms are offered to the students for the entirety of their studies until they are completed. So you can find out more scanning the QR code of our project. You have my email here if you need to contact me and have any questions for me or for the project. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Vola. And I now would like to ask all the speakers to come back to the stage, please, for a short panel discussion. So thanks a lot for this insights into your project. As I mentioned before, there are now 30 projects funded under the Built4P umbrella and more to come. So here you had just a very small view of what all these fantastic projects are developing. So I really invite you to have a look at what is being developed under by the project under the Built4P partnership. All right, and then I will try to climb here without falling. I'm starving, so it's getting hard, but but let's be efficient for this panel discussion. And I will start with a question for Caroline. So as you presented for Drastic, you have implemented a circular approach. So what are the specific challenges you have encountered in relation to circularity, in particular reuse? So using something that before was considered as a waste and is not anymore. I give you my mic.
Yeah, of course, we we have encountered a lot of challenges, but one challenge, and I think I already touched upon it a bit, was based. We came from one of the co-creation sessions with the architects and the designers, saying that the technological solutions are there, can be implemented, but they are not enough. And that triggers me the most, because indeed we were talking about, okay, we are going to assess and measure the business as usual and then compare it to these circular solutions. And then they started to talk about aesthetics, about beauty, about cultural heritage. And we were like, yeah, indeed, it's equally important, but how to measure? It's still work in progress. We are still trying to work on it. For me personally, that triggered me the most.
Thank you. And Roland, in your project, you have also implemented eco-innovative materials and components. For you, what was the biggest challenges?
In our project, what we have implemented is the profiles of the facade are made in a biocomposite, and also the insulation is biocomposite based. The main issue with these materials are fire properties. So at the end, it's quite complicated to comply with the regulations. Obviously, you need to comply with them. So at the end, you need to change a little the configuration of the materials, and also you need to change the system of the facade in order to protect these components to be able to comply with these regulations. So many iteration has been done in order to comply with this, and also you have different requirements depending on the country you are trying to implement. So if you go to France, probably they are going to request that you need to pass some type of procedures that are different if you go to Spain or Denmark. At the end, there are some common rules that need to be defined, but okay, all these things, the fire and the regulation is something that is complicated for this type of components.
Okay, but it's important. So
you need to comply with.
Let's continue with Egir, since you have the microphone. In the project, you also implemented active facade, and they may be perceived as complicated to operate by user, to operate and maintain. Maybe some of them, they also get the feeling that you are stealing their liberty, that they can't open the window anymore. So how can you solve this issue? How do you make sure that your solutions, they are inclusive by design?
At the end, because of previous projects where we don't have this freedom, and at the end what they do is switch off on the system, and okay, you cannot do nothing. At the end, there is a manual mode that you can change the configuration. At the end, the main solution for the building is not the best for you, but you need to put the user in the front to understand okay, what they need, because could happen that in some part of the building they need something, in other part not. At the end, you advise them, okay, if you leave the window open, at the end you are going to have a worse result in terms of energy, but at the end they have the final answer. They can do whatever they want with the system. Obviously, then are going to pay more, or they are going to have more difficulties, but you leave the word at the end to the user.
Right, thanks, Roland. And Vula, how have you tackled this in a house? For instance, for your students, can they switch off as well the technologies?
Our students, first of all, I didn't mention that our students are engineers, 100% engineers, only engineering school in Xanthi. So they liked the idea and the project from the very beginning. They are very supportive until now. The facade itself is modular, very flexible material that does not really close any windows or doors or whatever to stress out the residents. It's pre-built, and it only comes for installation for the building. So it's the least intrusive method of putting it out there. It comes with a set of sensors that ultimately allow the user to have control of the energy that he's using, of the quality of the air of his room. So of taking care of not wasting energy or improving, I mean, by watching the readings of the sensors to improve the environment of the room and of the whole building as well. So for whatever reason that might be difficult for them to tackle, we also had some short, let's say, workshops to show them how it is used. And we plan to also have some digital screens installed and QR codes for them to have easy access to use methods of the
All right, thank you. And now going back to the NEB values, working principles, maybe to go a bit in more details with this co-creation approach, not to involve users at the end, just when the solution is implemented. Wanted to ask Coralie how you have implemented this whole co-creation approach, and maybe also Caroline afterwards you can tell us a bit more if you have good practices to share, tips for other projects.
Actually, the main point in region is like to create a physical living space, as I said. So I think to facilitate the co-creation, this kind of space is really relevant. And also, we in this NRO we are going to implement tools and like tangible tools such as the must table. So every end user will can use these tools. So it reinforces also, I think, their commitment in regeneration projects. And yeah, I think that's the two main points in region.
Caroline, if you want to.
Yeah, just shortly. I think, and that's not only for these NEP projects, but I think for all kind of projects, I really see the added value of organizing co-creation sessions, making sure that all the noses are in the same direction. What I also recommend is to try to find a good moderator. And with a good moderator, I mean help people think out of the box, because people always think from their own perspective, dimension, experiences. And then, but it's not feasible from a financial point of view, or but the standards do not allow. Leave that aside. Try to just dream. And then afterwards, we will take care of all these hurdles and the transition pathways that we need to go. But let people think out of the box, and that collaborative spirit, that fact that you do this co-creation, it helps to collaborate. It helps to get the engagement from different value chain actors, and to also let them take ownership, which is also important, I think.
Absolutely. Maybe to go back to Coralie, you mentioned this physical office you have in your demonstration site. Do you think this was helpful to build trust among the citizens, or do you have also other recommendations on how to build the trust?
It's true that we always talk about engagement, but trust is, I think, the first point for like creating engagement. And as we are the leader of the communication activities, I think that to reinforce the trust, we need to create like some understandable content to create like proximity with all the stakeholders. And also, which is really important to me, is like having realistic objective to do what it has been promised to the stakeholders and to the citizens in the region.
Thank you, Holly. Voula, anything you would like to add related to trust and how you build it trust with your building occupants? Although I understand they were a bit specific students, 100% engineers, so not the kind of community you will meet anywhere.
Exactly, we had the community of the residents and the students 100% from the beginning, but as mentioned before, also local communities, the authorities in the university, the fact that we have engaged them as soon as the project started, and they felt that they had a say in this, that really increased their trust in the result or in the procedure towards that result, and it made them believe in the project and made them be more actively involved until today. I think that's also very important, not to just present a result in the end, but yes, make the community involved. And that also resulted into better dissemination and making other peoples know about our project, this and other projects as well, make them more visible to local and regional level.
Thank you. Well, my final question before we have the Q&A will go to Clémentine. So you explained earlier that you organized a workshop already half a year ago about the implementation of the NEB in R&D projects. Can you maybe share more insights of what you got during this workshop on the way other Built4P projects as they grasp the new European Bauhaus and how they try to integrate it into their activities?
Okay, so that was not 100% engineers, but there was a majority of engineers participating to this workshop. And if we go back to the 3 values, sustainable, beautiful, together, let's say that on sustainable, it's quite well mastered because, as you said at the very beginning of the session, that's the heart of their project. Most of the project deal with renovation and energy efficiency solution and this type of issues. So that's mastered. Then on together, on inclusiveness and co-design, we see big progress, and you've been mentioning that a lot. This had been pushed by the EC calls themselves that were really asking for co-design, for stakeholder engagement, for participatory processes. So there are some good practices that are emerging and still some challenges like language, and not only the local language, but the professional language, the question of understanding each other, sharing the same vocabulary. That was one of the aspects. The question of consultation. What is a good consultation if you want to have a very large process of involvement of citizens? Do you go for a digital consultation or physical one? How do you deal with digital divide in that case? Who is your target population and how you deal with that? How do you process the data resulting from that? So this type of questions. But you see that they are really grasping this. And last one on beautiful, clearly that was the value that was less grasped by this project. There were very interesting discussion about what they meant by beauty, and they talk about the sense of belonging and the sense of identity of places and buildings. But how to combine that with the 2 other values of the European Bauhaus was really the remaining challenges that is ahead of people.
Thanks a lot for this wider perspective. All right, well, we still have precisely 9 minutes before lunch for a few questions. I don't think I will use the threat of Laura, no question, no lunch, but still I'm hoping that we can have 1 or 2 questions, so please fire. Don't be shy. There is one.
Maybe I'll stand. Actually, I want to follow up on what you were saying. But it's actually a question for everyone, which is I'm from the Bauhaus of the Seas Lighthouse project. And one of the things, and I'm in charge of communication, one of the things that we've been discussing is how do we communicate and broadcast our results on our activities? And how do we do so using, let's say, legacy media such as TVs, newspapers, but also apart from the social networks and profiles that we created during our projects, then how do we get our message across that is, let's say, that captures the mainstream imagination of the citizens we're supposed to engage? And I'd like to know if you have any experiences or any remarks you'd like to make in the advances you've made in terms of communication, namely press, media, so TVs, newspapers, etc. I'm very, very interested in knowing how, because these are important ideas and important innovations that we need to convince or seduce citizens to come on board. So I'd love to know your thoughts. Thank you.
On my side, I can answer for Nebula, but maybe it would be more for that was responsible for the dissemination activities. If you want to comment on that, back to you. Would you like to comment on the question?
Yeah, so see, it comes back at the end. Yes, I mean, we use the traditional social media channels so far. We try to do a lot of posts on LinkedIn. We try to understand the deep question that we want to transmit. We did newsletters, we did press releases as well. And I think the one thing that works the best is kind of success stories and how we can engage the citizens with these success stories. So we need to bring the narrative in another way so that it's not getting very technical, so they can understand, right? So I think that's the goal we have. And in other projects we are running, one of the things that work well is to bring the citizen and explain themselves to other citizens, because it's kind of how can they translate this high-level narrative into more applicable things. So I think that's something that works well, and we try to do as much as we can.
Anyone else would like to respond? Yeah.
I think that sometimes it's important to have something physical to be seen. So from our experience in some projects now, if you go to a television or to a general newspaper saying, okay, we have obtained a very good value in terms of nearly zero energy buildings, they are going to tell you nearly what? So this is something not interesting for them. But if you go and then show them, okay, you can see this building, we spend less than 59% of building it, and now they reduce the invoices to 10% or 20%. This is something interesting. So at the end, it's sometimes difficult this type of news because they don't care, they prefer other things. But physical solutions, physical results at the end are quite interesting. Can be something that they can see at least 1 minute.
You struck an idea. It's almost that how to make something interesting, because I'm thinking of contrast. So saying Trump will make a Riviera out of Gaza, so that's a news. So, but I mean simply. But if you are thinking of, I agree 100%, a case study with a kind of a live demonstration. So it's almost, could you create a reality TV situation which is different than these we have in Ireland, for example, a lot of these programs, you have an architect and then they follow somebody's renovations. But I often am critical about commentaries they give because you don't learn much about technical innovation that happened. Yes, you may hear very notional cost, but you don't learn much from that program other than saying something is nice or not nice, which is arbitrary. So if you were to almost create a reality TV situation as part of the, but with you know, demonstrable, but quirky, witty, you might use other skills like, you know, journalistic or otherwise to make something attractive. Could that be almost part of the dissemination in future thinking that you try to get it sponsored by, I don't know, a company that produces insulation or something, so that you descend, because there is so much that useful things that we hear, co-creation, you know, from the buzzwords that you were using, you were mentioning, thank you for mentioning architects, because you then, everybody in the room probably realized a need for matrix thinking, and architects are sort of maybe closer to that by training, so are engineers. So there are so many good things and so many good results, but we do end up with a very short and peer kind of review of the results and then move on to something else. So we need to exploit it better and make it, and I don't know the answer, how should it be interesting, because other crude news seem to be more interesting, or what, because people get outrageous or whatever. So food for thought for this dissemination almost created reality TV where, you know, we are bending and moving and say, look, and this cost me so much and now I switch or I've done this and that. So
yeah, it's maybe not fully for the dissemination of the entire project, but I also learned that, for instance, if you use visual harvesting during meetings, that is also nice, because then the discussions are not written down in minutes. Like nobody reads the minutes of the meeting of the workshop, but it's visualized and it's more it's nice. It works. But I'm not sure how to use visuals in yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I know that there are specialists that are continuously drawing while we are talking, they are drawing it, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, to offer. I think that I think that so far we all engage in LinkedIn and social media the classic way, and it seems to me that we are all reaching to each other and we don't escape this cycle. By posting something on LinkedIn, 90% of the people who will see the post will be people who we have collaborated in the past, or a peer community anyway. What we want is to make an opening to our communities. I think it's we have to see it a little bit different and not leave the communication and dissemination to the work package leader to lead. I think it's our obligation as partners to reach out to our local communities. I mean, I live in Xanthi. I work there for the university. What I did was reach out to communities, citizen communities, student communities, people interested in renovations, sustainability as a whole, whatever came in mind that could engage or incentivize the local community, and that kind of spread a little bit outside the municipality region. So maybe we need to reach out. Everyone knows for their community. Every participant in the project knows their community, and they should search. And if they are not capable, sometimes I wasn't capable of coping with all that, I reached out to the dissemination and communication work package leader to give me advice, to help me out with organizing things, provide material. But first and foremost, we as individual partners need to make a difference and reach out to our local communities.
Thank you, Marta. Final words.
Yeah. Oh, it's just final words because we just did something kind of visual about the renovation. Sorry? Oh, okay, sorry. Well, my name is Marta. Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Marta. I'm the general manager, the new general manager of Building, one of the Built4People Innovation Cluster. So, well, I just wanted to share that we also had this issue about how to disseminate, how to communicate, and we did last year a project that was only about dissemination, about the renovation that was an historical building, and we had a lot of issue with that. I mean, we really want to engage the community. We think about something more casual, but we're so serious. We are construction sector, and it was difficult for us to do something really casual and that. And finally, with what we did was to involve the stakeholders of the renovation and do with them. I think we did 10 videos about the whole process, and I mean we did it like with a lot of technical value. I mean, we really wanted to explain the difficult renovation that we were facing because it was a renovation of historical building. The restoration had like a lot of issues, and well, it was not that fancy as a reality, but I think that we really managed to reach people. We also disseminate this around students that they were students. I mean, we thought the first approach was let's get the community and let's go to the on-site with them. And I was like, no, security issues. No, this is not possible, but we can have the cameras on the whole process. So it was really the way of engaging everyone. So it was not so a way of taking everyone to visit on site, but we take the cameras and did all the process. And then we have 10 videos with all the process and also with inclusiveness, with health and security issues. And if you want, I can share maybe with Nebula project this web page. And I think that it can be like a little example. Yeah, and I mean then it was used for a lot of things. And with this video that was so visual, we managed that the press came to us because they say, okay, there are videos. This is easy to understand. This lot of people, so visual, a place where you never get in. So I really would like to share with and I will give to Nebula Project the link of that. Yes, that was everything. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Marta. Well, it's now time to move to lunch, but before we go, I would like to ask you to give a round of applause to our speakers.